Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session on essential math vocabulary, basic operations, and 2D shapes. These are bilingual mathematics class designing for 6th grade level A1 students focusing on strengthening both math skills and English language proficiency. Okay, we dive into activities, it's clearly defined what we aim to achieve today. Our learning journey has three core objectives. Objective one, math vocabulary. We want to build your foundational mathematics vocabulary in English so you can formulate, read, and solve basic linear equations. Two, K-algebra terms, and we will identify and currently use K-algebraic terms like variable equations and inverse operations with algebraic context. And three, algebraic translation. You will learn how to translate simple English verbal phrase into one-step algebraic expressions. These objectives are crucial for transitioning from basic arithmetic to foundational algebra. Okay. Um, and goal here is simple response. We call activity pronunciation of these basic terms. Prepare or your brain for the algebra vocabulary ahead. We'll review add, sumar, subtract, restar, multiply, multiplicar, divide, dividir, equal, igual, number, número. And please take out your device, use the link provided on the screen, and let's start the 2-minute quiz, more or less. Okay, presentations, algebra, introduction to algebra. Now that we have our basic operations done, let's move into the main topic algebra. We are going to watch a short pre-recording video that explains three fundamental concepts. As you watch, please write the new vocabulary in your notebooks. The three concepts are: one, what is a variable, a letter representing an unknown number, uh, what is an equation? A mathematical expression with an equal sign, shall we? Two equivalent values. And three operations, how to use opposite operation to solve one-state equations. Let's watch video now. Video time or transitions to the next slide, keeping the time limit in mind.
Hi, this is Rob. Welcome to Mathematics. In this lesson, we're going to learn some really important things about a whole branch of math called algebra. The first thing you need to know is that algebra is a lot like arithmetic. It follows all the rules of arithmetic, and it uses the same four main operations that arithmetic is built on: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But algebra introduces a new element, the element of the unknown. When you were learning arithmetic, the only thing that was ever unknown was the answer to the problem. For example, you might have the problem 1 plus 2 equals what? The answer isn't known until you go ahead and do the arithmetic. Now, the important thing about algebra is that when we don't know what a number is yet, we use a symbol in its place. That symbol is usually just any letter of the alphabet. A really popular letter to choose is the letter X. So in arithmetic, we would just leave the problem like this: 1 plus 2 equals blank. And we would write in the answer when we did the addition. But in algebra, we'd write it like this: 1 plus 2 equals x. The x is a placeholder that stands for the number that we don't know yet. What we have here is a very basic algebraic equation. An equation is just a mathematical statement that two things are equal. An equation says the things on this side of the equal sign have the same value as the things on the other side of the equal sign. In this case, our equation's telling us that the known values on this side, 1 plus 2, are equal to what's on the other side, which happens to be the unknown value that we're calling x. One of the main goals in algebra is to figure out what the unknown values in equations are. And when you do that, it's called solving the equations. In this equation, it's pretty easy to see that the unknown value is just 3. All you have to do is actually add the 1 and 2 together on this side of the equation, and it turns into 3 equals x, which is the same as x equals 3. So now we know what x is. It's just 3. That almost seems too easy, doesn't it? And that's why in algebra, you're usually given an equation in a more complicated form, like this: x minus 2 equals 1. This is exactly the same equation as 1 plus 2 equals x, but it's been rearranged so that it's not quite as easy to tell what x is. So in algebra, solving equations is a lot like a game where you're given mixed up, complicated equations, and it's your job to simplify them and rearrange them until they're nice simple equations, like x equals 3, where it's easy to tell what the unknown values are. We're going to learn a lot more about how to actually do that, how to solve equations, in the next several videos. But for now, let's learn some important rules about how symbols can and can't be used in algebraic equations. The first rule you need to know is that the same symbol or letter can be used in different algebra problems to stand for different unknown values. For example, in the problem we just solved, the letter x was used to stand for the number 3, right? But x could stand for a different number in a different problem. Like if someone asks us to solve the equation 5 plus x equals 10. In order for the two sides of this equation to be equal, x must have the value 5 in this problem, because 5 plus 5 equals 10. So x, or any other symbol, can stand for different values in different problems. That's okay. But what's not okay is for a symbol to stand for different values in the same problem at the same time. For example, what if you had the equation x plus x equals 10? This equation says that if we add x to x, we'll get 10. And there's a lot of different numbers that we could add together to get 10, like 6 and 4. But if we had the first x stand for 6 and the second x stand for 4, then x would stand for two different values at the same time, and things could get really confusing. If you wanted symbols to stand for two different numbers at the same time, you'd need to use two different symbols, like x and y. So in algebra, whenever you see the same symbol repeated more than once in an equation, it's representing the same unknown value. Like if you see a really complicated algebraic equation like this, where x is repeated a lot of different times, all those x's stand for the same value, and it'll be your job to figure out what that value is. Okay, so for any particular equation, we can't use the same letter to represent two different numbers at the same time. But what about the other way around? Could we use two different letters to represent the same number? Yes, and here's an example of that. Let's say you have the equation a plus b equals 2. What could a and b stand for so that the equation's true? Well, if a was 0 and b was 2, then the equation would be true. Or we could switch them around. If a was 2 and b was 0, the equation would also be true. But there's another possibility. If a was 1 and b was also 1, that would make the equation true, right? So even though A and B are different symbols and would usually be used to represent different numbers, there are times when they might happen to represent the same number. Oh, and this problem can help us understand something very important about how symbols are used in algebra. Did you notice that there were different possible solutions for this equation? In other words, B could have the value 0, 1, or 2 depending on what the value of A was. If A is 0, then B must be 2. If A is 1, then B must be 1. And if A is 2, then B must be 0. B can't have two different values at the same time, but its value can change over time if the value of A changes. In algebra, B is what's called a variable because its value can vary or change. In fact, in this equation, both A and B are variables because their values will change depending on the value of each other. Actually, it's really common in algebra to refer to any letter as a variable, since letters can stand for different values in different problems. But at mathematics, we'll usually just use the word
Okay,
variable
let's
when we're talking
continue.
about values that can change or vary in the same problem. All right.
Okay, guys. Applying the learning productions. Now is your turn produce. We have two parts for this production activity. Activity with word wall fish. You will complete an interactive activity where you need to match algebra vocabulary with its definitions. Relate English phrase to algebraic expressions, solve short equations in English. This is GeoGebra challenge and find the value of x and, in task in can you in your house and word wall activity mention you valued number a mathematics and professor. Okay, starts. For example, okay, choose the number correspond at the box. Okay, Okay, assessment evaluation of learning and identify equations. Um, we were can academic kids let the students complete activity sure assigned for professors in can academic kids in focus on identify equations. Now, when a expression mathematics is a equations. Interesting operations demonstrated comprehension of the operations of the basic operations in English and solving linear problems, are, are solving problems linear basics of four independent. The professor valued the progress are through of the finally precision of the answers. And this results Khan Academy on a stick resource introduction of the algebra, equation lineals, decimals lineals, graphic linear functions, um, systems of as the equation decimals, multiply and factorize expressions. For example, is these videos about concepts of algebra or basic algebra, algebra 2. I include two videos of the Antigua, list of exercise and ads the of algebras, square of algebras. For example, okay,
Lo que quiero hacer en este video es reflexionar acerca de los orígenes.
finally, let's talk about the final assessment. You will complete an activity assigned by your teacher and Khan Academy Kids. This assessment is focused on three areas. You understand operations, demonstrate comprehension or basic operation in English, and assessment in word activity and in word one. Complete one activity of task in word one that replace the vocabulary of English algebra. In the other activity, activity 2, vocabulary. Write three words of vocabulary that listen on the video in its mean. Meaningful, sorry. Okay, guys, thank you so much for attention. I found clearly activity. See you soon.